She packed her entire life into 2 suitcases, and he was still texting another woman the night before her immigration appointment. Yeah, let that sink in. Because while TLC was selling us a sun-soaked love story on 90 Day Fiancé the other way, what was really happening between Chloe and Johny in Aruba wasn't romantic. It was a slow, painful unraveling that most viewers didn't see coming. And I know what you're thinking. Weren't they supposed to be one of the more stable couples this season? The ones who weren't constantly screaming in a parking lot or throwing drinks at dinner? That's exactly why this hurts more. Chloe didn't just move countries for Johny. She detonated her entire old life. Friends, career momentum, family support system, everything familiar. She traded stability for love, and not the K-1 visa version where the American brings someone over with 90 days to decide. No, this was the other way. She was the one who left. Aruba sounds dreamy on Instagram. Beaches, blue water, romantic sunsets. But here's the part TLC cameras didn't show. Legalizing your status there isn't some cute paperwork montage with romantic background music. It's a multi-month process. Endless forms, appointments, fees, translation documents, sponsorship requirements, proof of partnership. And if you're not married, it gets complicated fast. And Chloe wasn't walking into this with a wedding ring. Instead of marriage, they were leaning on partnership agreements, which means more scrutiny, more documentation, more financial proof, more vulnerability. If that relationship cracks, so does your legal safety net. This is where the 90-day dream quietly fell apart. Because while Chloe was trying to secure residency, Johny was quietly destroying the one thing that makes immigration sacrifice worth it: trust. Let's talk about the cheating. Not rumors, not he liked a girl's bikini pic. We're talking repeated betrayals, emotional affairs, DMs that crossed lines, conversations that weren't innocent. And according to screenshots that fans say surfaced on Reddit before being deleted, at least one physical encounter during a guy's night that Chloe didn't find out about until much later. But TLC framed it like trust issues, like maybe Chloe was insecure. I know what you're thinking. If he cheated more than once, why stay? Because when you've already uprooted your life, when your visa depends on stability, when your pride is wrapped up in proving everyone wrong back home, walking away doesn't just mean heartbreak, it means starting over from zero. And here's something most viewers missed. Around episode 3, there's that dinner scene where Johny talks about what a real commitment looks like. He says he wants a partner who understands traditional roles. He talks about actions over emotions. He implies Chloe isn't ready for serious adulthood because she's still processing feelings. But listen closely to what he's actually doing. He's redefining commitment in a way that excuses his behavior. For Johny, readiness means paperwork, financial contributions, stability, structure. For Chloe, readiness means emotional safety, loyalty, transparency. They were arguing 2 completely different definitions of love, and that's why every conversation felt like they were speaking different languages. If you're new here and you care about the real story behind these 90-day edits, the stuff that doesn't make the final cut, hit subscribe. This channel isn't about surface-level drama. It's about connecting the dots TLC hopes you won't. Because once you start connecting them, this breakup makes terrifying sense. Let's rewind to the immigration process again. Aruba requires proof of sufficient income from the sponsoring partner. That means Johny's finances were under the microscope. There were fees stacking up, legal consultations, government processing delays. And while Chloe was emotionally spiraling over trust issues, she was also financially dependent on him during that transition. That's a dangerous power imbalance. And some fans on Twitter, X, were already picking up on it. One viral thread questioned why Johny kept emphasizing how much he was doing for Chloe, legally, as if it earned him forgiveness. That dynamic, it's subtle, but it's real. Financial sacrifice can turn into emotional leverage fast. Now, here's where it gets messy. A fan account claimed Johny was still following and interacting with women he previously hooked up with. Screenshots showed flirty comments that didn't exactly scream committed man fighting for his relationship. And while nothing was officially confirmed on the show, Chloe's body language shifted after that episode aired. She got quieter, less hopeful, more guarded. This is where the betrayal becomes psychological, because repeated cheating doesn't just hurt once, it rewires how you see everything. Every late text, every unexplained delay, every "don't worry about it." And when you're in a foreign country without your support system, that paranoia gets amplified. But here's the part TLC cameras didn't show. Chloe had reportedly confided in a friend back home that she felt stuck, not because she didn't love him, but because leaving would mean admitting the entire move was a mistake. That's the real emotional cost of the other way. It's not just plane tickets and visa fees, it's pride. And Johny? He seemed frustrated that Chloe wasn't over it yet, as if trust repairs itself on a timeline. At one point, he tells her, "If we're moving forward, you have to let the past go." But that only works if the past isn't still happening. And according to fan chatter, it might be. Now let's talk about readiness. Johny wanted marriage eventually. He talked about building a future. But every time Chloe pushed for emotional reassurance, he shifted the conversation back to responsibilities, bills, stability, expectations. That mismatch is lethal, because Chloe had already proven her readiness through sacrifice. She moved, she applied, she risked everything. But Johny measured readiness through structure, and from his perspective, Chloe's emotional distress looked like instability. This is where the 90-day narrative gets twisted. Viewers start asking, is she too sensitive, instead of asking, why does she feel unsafe? Reddit was split. Half the fans said Chloe should have left the second cheating surfaced. The other half argued Johny was under pressure as the sole financial anchor and deserved understanding. That dynamic, it's subtle, but it's real. And then came the silence. No joint posts, no cozy beach selfies, no visa update celebrations. Chloe stopped tagging Johny. Johny started posting gym selfies and vague captions about growth. I know what you're thinking. Maybe they were just taking space. But here's what tipped it over. Chloe reportedly returned home temporarily for family reasons, and the return ticket never posted. In 90-day universe language, that's code red. Because once someone goes back home during an active immigration process, the clock gets complicated. Delays pile up. Doubts harden. This is where the breakup stopped being a rumor. Sources close to production hinted that filming wrapped with uncertain status. Not a dramatic explosion, not a screaming fight, just exhaustion. Emotional burnout is quieter than cheating scandals, but it's just as final. Imagine waking up every day in a country you moved to for love, next to someone you're not sure you trust, dependent on them for your legal future. That's not romance, that's survival mode. And survival mode kills intimacy. By the time the split became public, fans weren't even shocked. They were resigned. Because when trust cracks multiple times, when communication breaks down into circular arguments, when financial strain amplifies insecurity, love starts feeling like a liability. Chloe's biggest sacrifice wasn't moving, it was believing him again after the first betrayal, and maybe the second, and maybe the third. Johny's biggest mistake wasn't just cheating, it was underestimating how fragile their situation already was. When immigration stress meets infidelity, it's gasoline on a fire. And this is what so many couples in the 90-day universe underestimate. The visa process magnifies everything. Small cracks become fractures. Doubts become deal breakers. By the end, their conversations reportedly shifted from "how do we fix this" to "what happens if this doesn't work?" That's the moment relationships quietly end. Not when someone cheats, not when someone cries, but when both people start planning exit strategies. Now, here's the uncomfortable question. Did Johny ever truly understand what Chloe gave up? And did Chloe ever fully accept who Johny was showing him he is? Because sometimes love isn't about readiness, it's about alignment. And these two, they were misaligned from the start. Different definitions of commitment, different coping styles, different priorities under pressure. The breakup isn't just a sad ending, it's a case study in what happens when emotional trust doesn't match logistical commitment. And if you've watched 90 Day long enough, you know this pattern repeats. Grand gesture, big move, culture shock, hidden red flags, emotional explosion. But what makes Chloe and Johnny's story sting is how normal it looked at first. No screaming matches, no outrageous scandals, just slow erosion. So here's what I want to know, and be honest in the comments. If you were Chloe, would you have stayed after the first betrayal, knowing your residency depended on him? And if you were Johnny, would you feel suffocated by someone who couldn't move past your mistakes? Because maybe this wasn't about immigration at all. Maybe it was about whether love can survive when trust becomes paperwork. And that's the part TLC can't edit away.
Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe Daniel John Updates YouTube channel for more update news.